My name is Lauren Person, and I teach first grade at Eastside Elementary in Bedford County. And the lesson that we're going to show you today is a lesson that I taught at Hobgood Elementary in Murfreesboro with Lindsay's first graders. And the lesson centers around the idea of SRSD, which is self-regulated strategy development. That is a process where students are introduced to strategies that help them write, and then they use those strategies, and then they are gradually released to their own responsibility where they can use them independently. So the lesson that we're going to show you today is about the first two stages of SRSD, which are activate and develop background knowledge and discuss it. And so what I've done is taken elements of those two phases and kind of put them together into this one lesson. So in real time, this lesson might take a week or 2 weeks. You could do it over that amount of time. We're doing it today just in one lesson. All right, so my name is Miss Person. Can you guys say Miss Person? Miss Person. Yeah, like a person, place, or thing, like a noun. That's my name, Miss Person. So what I'm going to have you guys do today is I'm going to have you come to the carpet and we're going to talk, and then we're going to go back to your desk and do an activity. So can you guys show me how you can come so nicely and quietly to the carpet? Oh, I love how you're pushing in those chairs so nicely. This is a good bunch of students, I can already tell. Do you have enough room with my foot right there? Are you okay? Okay. All right, so we are going to learn today about writing. Can you wave at me if your teacher has been teaching you how to write in first grade? She has? Oh, wonderful. Okay, can you wave at me if you think writing is fun? Okay. Can you wave at me if you think sometimes writing is hard? Okay. All right, so sometimes writing can be hard, and so we're going to talk today about something that can make it a little bit easier, and it's something that lots of writers do. Okay, and I have a poster up here that's going to help us remember what it is. So who can tell me, what is this poster? What do you guys notice on this poster? Can you raise your hand and tell me something about the poster? What do you notice?
I see it got words on it.
Mm-hmm. Does have some words on it. What do you notice?
The superheroes.
Superheroes. Do you guys like superheroes?
Yeah.
Do you think that superheroes are powerful?
Yeah.
You think they're strong?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody show me your best strong arms. Strong, like superhero. Do you want your writing to be strong?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. So we have these superheroes here that are going to help us make some strong writing, okay? And one of these words up here is the word POW. Can you guys do that? POW. Does that make you think of a superhero? Yeah. The word POW is a mnemonic. A mnemonic is a special word where each of the letters help us remember something, and they're really handy for us to use. So we're going to talk about POW. Can everybody show me? POW.
POW.
All right. Can you guys tell me the 3 letters that are in POW? P-O-W. Good. And each one of those letters is going to help us remember something, okay? So first the letter P. That stands for pull apart the prompt, okay? And when we say that together, we're going to act like we're pulling something apart, okay? Can you guys show me that, like you're pulling something apart? Very good. Okay, so we're going to see if we can say the P part of POW. We're going to say pull apart the prompt. Can you guys say that with me? Pull apart the prompt. Good, let's say it one more time. Pull apart the prompt. Yeah, and we're pulling it apart. Okay. The next letter is O. O stands for organize my notes. When you organize something, you put it in order. So when we say organize my notes, we're going to put our hands like this. Organize my notes, like we're putting in order. So can everybody show me your hands? Let's try it. Organize my notes. Good, let's try it one more time. Organize my notes. Good job. So first we have P, which is pull apart the prompt. And then we have O, organize my notes. Can we try them both? You guys think you can remember both?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay, show me the first one. Pull apart the prompt. Organize my notes. That is great. Okay, we got one more letter, and that's letter W. That stands for. How did you know that? Did you see it on my poster and you read that word right? Good job. That's right. Write and say more. So for this, we're going to pretend like we got a pencil. Everybody show me your pencil. We're going to say write and say more, like we're writing a whole lot. Okay, you ready? Write and say more. Good, one more time. Write and say more. That was so great. You think we can do all three?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna start with P. Pull apart my note, or pull apart the prompt. You ready? Pull apart the prompt. Organize my notes. Write and say more. That was so good. Turn to someone on the car and say, you did a good job.
You did a good job.
Turn to somebody else, say, you did a good job too.
You did a good job too.
Okay, so now we know what POW stands for, okay? Pull apart the prompt, organize my notes, and write and say more. And people who are really good writers do this every time they write. They always start by pulling apart the prompt, and then they organize their notes, and then they write and say more. And that helps them to be really good writers. Okay, and today we're going to focus on the letter P, pull apart the prompt. Can you guys show me that one again? Pull apart the prompt. Okay, does anyone know what a prompt is? What is a prompt?
A prompt is like something like it's something like you read and get more ideas.
Ooh, okay. It is definitely something we read. It has a main idea in it. Good thinking. Does anybody else have something they want to add to that? Do you need to go get a Kleenex?
Yes.
Go get a Kleenex, sweetheart.
No.
Okay. Does anyone want to add anything else about a prompt? Okay. So a prompt is what we're going to write about. So do you think that we're going to like rip it up when we pull it apart?
No.
Are we going to rip up paper?
No.
No, that wouldn't help us be good writers, would it? When I say pull apart the prompt, what I mean is that we're going to find the really important words, and we're going to pull those words out and really think about those words. Okay, I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So, we know what POW stands for. Now we're going to think about this word. Oh, I heard someone say it. Tide. Does anyone know what a tide is? A tide. What do you think a tide is?
A tide is probably topic.
I think that you read that word topic. That's one of the things that the T stands for. But do you know what a tide is?
No.
Okay, let's see if someone else knows. Do you know what a tide is? No. That's okay. Do you know what a tide is?
Yes. Like it stands for topic and important details.
You're reading my poster. You can't read my poster yet. First, we just have to think of what a tide is. Has anyone been to the ocean? Wave at me if you've ever been to the ocean.
No, I have.
Okay, wave to me if you've ever been to a big lake. Okay. At the ocean and the lake, you know how the water comes in like waves?
Yeah.
That's called the tide, and that's really powerful when those waves get pulled into the beach. If you've been to the beach, you might have gotten knocked over by the tide. You have. Yeah, it's really strong, isn't it? So it's kind of like the word pow. It makes us think of something strong. Tide is like the strong ocean. And tide is going to help our writing be powerful too. Yes, ma'am?
When I got hit by a big wave, I tried not to fall out.
It was powerful, wasn't it? So tide is a powerful word that's going to help us be good writers. And some of you have already read what T stands for. So let me see you make a big T with your arms like this, a big T. And that's going to stand for topic sentence. Can you say topic sentence?
Topic sentence.
Good job. And then we have the I and the D and tide, they go together. And they stand for important details. So we're going to do our thumbs like this. Important details. Good, let's try it again. Important details. Good. And then the E in tide, I bet some of you already read this one. Can you tell me what that one is? You can tell me.
End.
The end. The end. So we're going to make an E with our hands. Does anybody know how to make an E with your hands?
No.
You're close. It's like this. You do this? Yeah, that's how you make an E in sign language with your hand. Okay, so for tide, we're going to go topic sentence, important details,
Important details.
and the end.
In the end.
Let's try it one more time. Ready? Topic sentence, important details, the end. Yeah, very good. Now, I told you that POW can help writers all the time. Every single time a writer sits down to write, they can use POW. Tide is special. We can't always use Tide. We use Tide when we're writing an informational text. Wave at me if you've heard your teacher maybe say that word before, informational text. Is it like a story? It's kind of different than a story. Can someone tell me about an informational text? What do you know about an informational text?
Is informational text the main character in the story?
No, it's not a story. It's a different kind of writing than a story. An informational text tells you facts. Have you ever read something that tells you facts about an animal? Or facts about a person? Or a place?
Yeah.
Those are informational texts. And sometimes you have to write informational texts. Have you guys ever written about an animal before? Some of you have? You have? Okay. Well, that's what we're going to think about with Tide when you're writing an informational text. It won't help you write a story. Because in a story, we have characters. We don't have a topic sentence and important details in a story. So it's a little bit different. So we are going to look at POW and Tide today. And we're going to focus on the P in POW. Can you guys show me what the P stood for again? You remember? Pull apart the prompt. Yeah. So we're going to think about pulling apart the prompt, and we're also going to think about Tide, the topic sentence, the important details, and the end. Okay, so our poster is going to help us remember those things. So now what we're going to do, oh, there's one more thing. I forgot to tell you something really important about Tide. I wish it was up here, but it's not. But when we think about Tide, we get to think about some colors on a traffic light. Can you tell me what colors are on a traffic light? You can just shout them out to me.
Red, green, and yellow.
Yes. We're going to start with green. So our topic sentence, when we go back to your desk, we're going to use green for that because green means what?
Go.
Go. Yeah, and your topic sentence means go. It's like the beginning of your writing. And then we're going to think about yellow for the important details. Slow down, that's right. When you're reading important details, you want to slow down and really think about those important details. What color do you think is going to be for E, the end?
Red.
Red. Why? What does red mean?
Stop.
Stop. That's right, because that's like the end of our paper. We're going to stop now, okay? So in a minute, that's going to be really important. Okay, I think I told you everything I need to tell you about POW and about Tide. All right, your teacher was telling me that you guys, some of you have read this informational text called Good Bugs. Some insects are helpful to people. So some of you have already read this, but if you haven't read this before, that's okay because I'm going to read it to you. So this is an informational text that they wanted some first graders to read. And then they gave the first graders a prompt and asked them to do some writing. And I wrote the prompt up on the board. So what we're going to think about is if we were reading this and then we had this prompt, what would we do? So we're going to think about what we could do. So first I'm going to read this to you about good bugs, and I want you to be really good listeners, and I want you to think about these bugs in your mind. And it might be helpful. Some of you might want to close your eyes so you can really think about the bugs and imagine them in your mind. Some of you might want to keep your eyes open. Either way is okay, but I want you to really think about these bugs. And then I'm going to read the prompt, and we're going to try to pull it apart. Okay? All right, are you guys ready to listen about good bugs? All right, if you want to close your eyes so you can imagine, that's okay. You don't have to, though, if you don't want to. All right. Good bugs. Some insects are helpful to people. Insects can be trouble. Some bite. Others eat our plants and food. Not all insects bug people, though. Some can be quite helpful. Helping farmers grow food. Honeybees help farmers grow crops. The bees collect nectar from flowers. Nectar is a sweet liquid. Honeybees use it to make honey. They also collect pollen to eat. Pollen is a yellow powder made by flowers. As a honeybee flies to each flower, pollen sticks to tiny hairs on the bee's body. The pollen then rubs off onto other flowers. That is when pollination takes place. Pollination helps seeds grow. The seeds grow fruits and nuts. Cleaning up. Termites help recycle dead trees. How? They eat wood. Termites never sleep. They eat all day and night. They use their sharp jaws to break down the wood. That makes room for new plants to grow. Rid of pests. Ladybugs help farmers by eating aphids. Aphids are tiny insects that eat plants. Farmers release ladybugs near their crops. The ladybugs eat the aphids. Ladybugs also lay their eggs on the plants. When the eggs hatch, the newborn ladybugs start eating the aphids too. A ladybug can eat up to 50 aphids in one day. That protects the crops that farmers grow. Okay, you can open your eyes. So we just heard about some insects that are helpful to people. Now, this is the prompt that they would want us to write about, okay? That was a lot of information we just heard, wasn't it? Let's hear what they want us to write about. This says, we learned many facts about insects. How are some insects helpful to people? Write examples of how insects help people. Okay, that's the prompt. And in PAL, the P helped us remember to do what to the prompt? Pull apart the prompt. Am I going to go and like pull this apart?
No.
No, I want to pull out the really important words that tell me what to write about. So I'm going to read this again, and I want you to think of what words are really important that we can pull out of this prompt, okay? Listen again. We learned many facts about insects. How are some insects helpful to people? Write examples of how insects help people. Show me a thumb if you heard a really important word, something that you are supposed to write about from this prompt. Okay, can you give me one word that you heard from this prompt? Something, what are you supposed to write about? Insects. If you heard that word insects, I want you to turn and wave to your friend that just said insects. Did you hear that word in the prompt? I heard it too. Okay, so let's circle the word insects. It's in here 3 times. If it's in there 3 times, you think it's important?
Yes.
So we pulled out the word insects. So what do you think we're supposed to write about?
Insects.
About insects. But what are we going to write about the insects? Listen again. We learned many facts about insects. How are some insects helpful to people? Write examples of how insects help people. I heard another really important word that tells me what to write about. What do you think it is?
Facts.
Facts. That's a good word. Yeah, we're going to be writing facts. We're not going to make up a story about insects, are we? We're going to write facts about the insects. Good listening. Did you hear another word?
Helpful to people.
Helpful to people. Oh, wave at your friend if you think that that is a very important part of this prompt. I think that's important too. Are we going to write about how insects can bite us and bother us?
No.
What are we going to write about? How they help people. Oh. Okay. You guys just pulled apart the prompt. So the important words here are facts, insects, and help people. So what are we supposed to write?
About insects.
What else about insects? Not just insects.
Help people.
How they help people. The facts about how insects help people. Very good. Okay, I want you to turn to someone close to you on the carpet and tell them what we're going to write about. You can tell me. What are we going to write about? The first activity that we did was about introducing the mnemonics that we use. And the first one we introduced was POW. And that is pull apart the prompt, organize my notes, and write and say more. And that is a process mnemonic. That mnemonic can be used for any kind of writing that you do at any time. And the reason that we started with that is because Lindsay had asked me to focus on pulling apart the prompt, because that's a really hard skill for most students, and especially first graders. So what we wanted to focus on was pulling out those keywords so that the students really understand what the prompt is asking them to do. And whenever we do this, I want the students to be able to answer the question of what am I supposed to write about and how am I supposed to write about it. So when we pulled out those words about insects and helping people, we were answering that question of what are we supposed to write about. And then we also wanted to pull out the word facts because that told the students how they were supposed to write about it, which would be in an informational text.
The part that I came away the most with from her was the movements that she put along with it. I went back a couple days later with the kids, and we actually went and wrote a topic sentence and important details. But first I had them go back and I said, okay, well, what do you remember from the other day with Miss Persons, her coming in? And they immediately started saying, well, you pull apart the prompt, organize my notes, and they did all of the movements with it. So I think that just that repetition and putting the movements with it, doing it over and over, really gave those kids a reference point as to where they could start with their writing. Especially with these younger kids, it's very overwhelming for them to get a full page prompt and asked to write about it using details from the passage. And I think putting those movements with it and giving them that reference point really helped them start their writing.
The next mnemonic that we did was TIDE, and TIDE is a content mnemonic. It's only used when you're doing informational text, and it stands for topic introduction, important details, and the ending. And so the students, we practiced that, and then we were able to look and see how all of those parts went together for an informative essay. We found that POW is a really great mnemonic for not only the younger ones, but moving along in the grades, it's really helpful as well. I collaborate with some third grade teachers who had been using POW in their classrooms, and they said that their students not only were able to really pull apart the prompt and create better writing, but they actually carried that over into main idea and details and were able to understand those and identify those more clearly in a text as well. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, I like how these friends turn their knees back towards me and now they're ready to listen. All right, so you guys just pulled apart the prompt. You took this big prompt and you figured out the most important words, and now you know what to write about. Okay, that's how we pull apart a prompt. So we're not actually going to write about the insects today. Instead, I'm going to show you some writing that someone else did. So someone read the same thing I just read to you, and they read the prompt, and they're a good writer, so they pulled apart the prompt, and this is what they wrote. That looks like some good writing, doesn't it? This is called an exemplar. An exemplar just means a really good example. Example and exemplar kind of sound the same. So this is a really good example of what you could write based on that prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this exemplar to you, and I want you to listen and tell me why this is some really good writing. So I want you to listen for the good things you hear in this writing. Can you guys do that?
Yes.
You can? I'm glad you can. Can the rest of you do that?
Yes.
So you're going to listen for the things that make this really good writing, okay? All right, it says, some insects are helpful to people. They are good bugs. Here are some examples. First, honeybees make honey for us to eat. They also spread pollen so plants can grow. Next, termites eat and break down wood to help clean up our forests so new plants can grow. Last, ladybugs eat aphids to protect crops that farmers grow. These are the ways some insects are helpful and cooperative. So that was some good writing that somebody did. Who can raise their hand and tell me what they heard that sounded really good? What did you hear? You see that they have capital letters? Ooh, that's important in writing, isn't it? Okay, what did you see that was good writing, or what did you hear?
Nice and neat handwriting.
It is. Did they handwrite this? Do you think someone wrote this with a pencil?
No.
What do you think they did?
Copied it. They copied it?
They typed it on the computer. That makes it nice and neat. That's important in writing too. Can you raise your hand and I'll listen? Yes, ma'am.
It's like this little thing that's has it's like this thing when you put paper when you put paper inside of it and you start typing.
Yes.
It makes the things you type out on the paper.
Yeah, so someone wrote this with a computer. That's pretty cool. What else did you notice?
They have period at the end.
That's important, isn't it, to help our reader know where our sentences stop? What else did you notice?
They have spaces.
That's important too. You can't read something if there are no spaces, can you? What did they put in here that was really good about bugs being helpful? Does anyone remember what they said? Do you remember what they said about bugs being helpful? Or insects?
That first honeybees make
Yeah, you're a really good reader all the way from over there. That's pretty good. Yeah, he talked about how honeybees make honey. Do you guys like honey?
Yes.
I do too. That's a pretty helpful thing that bees do. Okay, what else do insects do that are helpful that he wrote about?
Ladybug eat
Aphids.
aphids.
Yeah, those buds like to eat plants, and we don't want them to eat up our plants, but the ladybugs eat the aphids. What else did you hear about how insects are helpful?
Aphids is like an important word.
Mm-hmm, it is, yeah.
And they have swag.
They do?
It's like over there. It's almost there.
Oh, it starts with a capital letter. It's written neatly, a space, and given punctuation. That's so cool. That's a mnemonic like Pow and Tide. You guys are already using those. That's a good one. I might have to remember that one from your classroom. They do have all those things. All right, so do you think that this writer used Tide to help him?
Yes.
Do you think he used a topic sentence and important details in the end?
Yes.
He did. So what we're going to do is we are going to see if we can find the parts of Tide, okay? We are going to listen to them first, and then we're going to go to your desk and we're going to take your crayons. And remember how we said we were going to use green, yellow, and red?
Yes.
We're going to color the essay. We don't usually color words, do we? No, we're just going to color the parts to help us see where the topic sentence is, where the important details are, and where the end is, okay? So first I'm just going to read it and let you listen, and then we'll go to our desks and we'll color it, okay? So first I want you to listen for a topic sentence. A topic sentence tells you what the writing is about. So when you hear me read the sentence that tells what the writing is about, I want you to wave at me really fast like this, okay? Everybody show me. Wave really fast like, oh, I hear it, I hear it, I hear it. Okay, hands down. You ready? So when you hear the topic sentence that tells you what all the writing is about, you're going to wave at me like that, okay? Some insects are helpful to people. Oh, you think that's it? You think that tells what the writing is about? Let's listen again. He thought that was it. Some insects are helpful to people. Is that what the whole writing is about?
Yes.
That's it. You guys found the topic sentence. That was easy, wasn't it? It was the first one. Okay, now we're going to listen to important details. Those are the important things about the insects. So when you hear an important detail about an insect, you're going to wave at me like, oh, I hear it, I hear it. Okay, you ready? They are good bugs. Here are some examples. First, honeybees make honey for us to eat. Oh, I see some waving. Is that an important detail about honeybees?
Yes.
Oh, you found it. Okay, hands down. They also spread pollen for plants to grow. That's important too? It is. You guys are great listeners. Okay, hands down. Next, termites eat and break down wood to help clean up our forests so new plants can grow. That's important too? That is. That's an important detail about termites. Good. Hands down. Last, ladybugs eat aphids to protect crops that farmers grow. Oh, that's important too? That is. That's an important detail about ladybugs. Good. Hands down. Now, we found the topic. We found the important details. Now I want you to listen for the end. When you hear the ending sentence, you're going to wave at me like, oh, I hear it. Okay? These are the ways some insects are helpful and cooperative. Now, wait. He didn't say the end. Can it be the end if you don't say the end?
No.
You don't think so? Well, can you see? Did he write the end at the very bottom?
No.
Oh yeah, you can put a period.
Yes. Sometimes authors don't write the end at the end. Sometimes they just have a sentence that tells you this is the end. And you guys are right when you waved at me. That sentence did say, it did mean that that was the end because he said, these are the ways some insects are helpful and cooperative. And that's his ending. So did we find all the parts of Tide in this exemplar?
Yes.
We did. Do you think that you can find them?
Yes.
Okay, so at your desk, you have this already on your desk. So I wonder what you think you should do with it when you first sit down. Something with your pencil at the very top. What do you think you should do?
Name.
Write your name. That's right. And then after you write your name, I want you to put your pencil down and find me with your eyes. Okay? So what are you going to do? Write your name and then
Put your pencil down and find you with your eyes.
everybody find me with your eyes. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let me go see if you can do that. Write your name, put your pencil down, find me with your eyes. The next part of the lesson really focused on using an exemplar text. And when I went to the Middle Tennessee Writing Project Summer Institute, we really talked about showing students beautiful writing, and that was a lot more helpful than showing them poor writing when teaching them what they needed to do in writing. So that kind of idea of showing beautiful writing to students came from the Middle Tennessee Writing Project. And then it was reinforced again when I started learning about SRSD. So we show that exemplar text to show kids what their writing could be and give them something to aspire to. And the exemplar text we showed was pretty ambitious, but we did that on purpose because we wanted to show the kids something that they really could achieve, but also something that would push them. And when we used this in my classroom back in the fall, we did a pre-assessment with the students and just to see what they could write. And one student came out with a whole paragraph, and we were so shocked that he had already been able to do that. And so then showing him that exemplar still gave him somewhere to go and to grow as well. So that's just a wonderful thing about showing them that. Okay, I think we're ready. So now we're going to look at the exemplar and we're going to find the parts that we found on the carpet. So first we want to find the T, the topic sentence. Can everybody show me your big T with your arms? The topic sentence. Do you remember what color we said was going to go with that?
Green.
Green, because it's like the beginning. So everybody find your green crayon and hold it up. Let me see your green. Okay. Now, I'm going to read, and when you hear it, hold up your green crayon. Okay, when you hear the topic sentence. So everybody look at your paper. Can you guys track with your finger while I'm reading? Oh, great. Some insects are helpful to people. Ooh, you think that's a topic sentence? It is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our crayon. We're not going to color it really dark because then you won't be able to see the words. We're just going to color lightly over the top. Can I borrow your green crayon? Can I show them what I mean? Thank you. Okay, so we're just going to take our crayon and color over it nice and light so we can see the green, but we can still see the words. Thank you so much. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So color over the topic sentence with your green, nice and light so you can see the color and you can see the words both. Some insects are helpful to people. Good, you got it. And you can just put your green crayon down when you're finished. Great. That looks good. You found it. Awesome. Okay, I think everyone's almost done finding the topic sentence. You can just put your green crayon down when you're finished. Okay, who can tell me what comes after the T in tide? What letters come next? The... Important details. Good job. Okay, let's all say important details. Good. Those are the important things about the insects. Can you hold up what color you remember that we're going to make for the important details? I see lots of yellow crayons in the air. That's right. Because when we read important details, we want to slow down and really think about them. So I'm going to read, and when you hear an important detail, raise up your crayon at me. Okay? Can you guys track again?
Yes.
We're going to start at the word they on the second line. Can you find that with your finger? Oh, this table's got it. Good job. Can you find the word they on the second line there? Good. Okay, here we go. They are good bugs. Is that an important detail about a bug? No. Okay, we're not going to color that one. Let's keep going. Here are some examples. Is that an important detail about an insect? No, we're not going to color that one either. Okay, find the word first. First, honeybees make honey for us to eat. Oh, is that an important detail about an insect?
Yes.
It is. So let's highlight that with our yellow crayon. First, honeybees make honey for us to eat. Did you find the word first right here? There you go. We'll do that one next so that you can just leave it that way. It's fine. We're going to do this one first. Honeybees make honey for us to eat.
I accidentally highlighted.
You know, we're going to highlight that part next, so it's okay. So just come back up here and do this part. First, honeybees make honey for us to eat. Good. Can you do these words too? For us to eat. For us to eat. Yeah. Oh, don't forget the word eat there. That's an important word too. You got it. Good. Very good. Okay, is that the only important detail in the whole exemplar? No, there are more, so we keep our yellow crayon. Keep your yellow crayon. There are more important details. Okay, the next part says they also spread pollen so plants can grow. Is that an important thing that bees do?
Yes.
It is important. Yeah, so we're going to highlight that one too. They also spread pollen so plants can grow.
I will go highlight that after this.
That's what we're doing. Did you get it? Good. They also spread pollen so plants can grow. And get this part right. Plants can grow. Good job. Get this part right here. Plants can grow. Good. This part right here. Plants can grow. You get that part too? Okay. All right. Was that the only two important details about honeybees? No,
Yes.
it was about honeybees. We had some other insects too, right?
Yes.
So we're going to keep our yellow crayon. More yellow, more important details. All right, it says next, termites eat and break down wood to help clean up our forests so new plants can grow. Whew, that's a long sentence. Is that an important detail about termites? It is, yeah, that's something important that we can learn about termites. So let's highlight that one. Whew, it's really long. Next, termites eat and break down wood to help clean up our forests so new plants can grow. Whew, that's a lot of yellow highlighting we're about to do. Keep going all the way to this word grow. That's long. Yeah, and this one here, and then all the way to the word grow.
That's a lot of yellow.
That looks good. Yep. Yep, keep going all the way to the word grow. Yeah, and break down wood to help clean up our forest so new plants can grow. It's really long.
Over here.
That's it, you got it. Good reading, it is a lot.
And the rest is red.
Okay, so we highlighted something about honeybees and we highlighted something about termites. I think there was another insect that we read about, the ladybugs. Okay, let's see if we can find the important detail about the ladybugs. Last, ladybugs eat aphids to protect crops that farmers grow. Is that an important detail about ladybugs? So what color are we going to use?
Yellow.
Yellow. It's an important detail. We want to think about those, so we're going to use yellow. Last, ladybugs eat aphids to protect the crops farmers grow. It's a good reading exercise. Farmers grow. Yep, you got it. Good. Keep going all the way to that word grow. Very good. We take the exemplar and kind of work backwards with it. So in the video you see where we are using the exemplar to identify the parts of tide, and so we want students to see that good writers use tide in their writing. They don't just sit down and magically start writing, that they plan it out. So that's why we do the color coding. And we want the students to be able to see the parts, see the topic, and see the important details, and see the end. And when they see that in a piece of writing, that's going to make it a lot more concrete for when we go back and ask them to produce that on their own. So we didn't get to see all of what we would do, but what we would keep doing with that exemplar is after we color coded it, we would actually cut it up and glue it onto a graphic organizer so that students can see how writers can use graphic organizers. Then we would take that even farther and make some notes based on the graphic organizer. So we would take a fresh graphic organizer and say, okay, this important detail about bees, how could we make notes about that? And we use caveman talk, where you break everything down into just 2 or 3 words. And the kids love to do caveman talk, so Instead of the full sentence about honeybees producing honey, we might just say bees make honey. And so we would write that as our notes, which goes along with the O and the mnemonic for POW, organize my notes. So we would take the exemplar, color code it, cut it up, put it on a graphic organizer, then from there, use that graphic organizer to have the kids make notes. And then the last thing we would do is actually take the notes and look back in the source text and see where did the writer get these ideas, and just help reinforce that idea that when we're writing for an informational text, we're always getting our details from the source text itself. So going backwards like that is really going to help students understand the process that writers go through, so that when they're asked to produce, they realize that there are all these steps to go to before you get to that finished piece of work.
Well, I realized what she had done with the kids was done in a very short time span that you would normally do over a few weeks. So I went after she left and continued with her lesson and took those prompts, and then we used the graphic organizer along with it. And then a couple days later, took our graphic organizer and then started compiling our paragraphs. So it was helpful that I could take what she did just over that one lesson, which of course was, like I said, it was pushed into one small lesson, but I took it and just continued with it once she left, and it was very helpful.
Okay, I see some good highlighting. All right, now we heard details about honeybees, about termites, and about ladybugs. Were there any other insects that we were going to hear important details about, or did we hear all the important details already? We've got them all? I think so. So what comes after? We did the topic introduction. We did the important details. What?
End.
The end. And what color is that going to be?
Red.
Okay, everybody switch to your red crayon. I'm going to see if you can find the end all by yourself and highlight it. See if you can do it. What sentence do you think tells about the end? Some of you have already got it. So which sentence do you think is the ending sentence? Yeah. And it goes all the way here. Good, and I'm going to read that sentence that you guys highlighted. It says, these are the ways some insects are helpful and cooperative.
Yes.
That's the ending sentence. That's how the author wrapped it all up. Okay, so when you're done, you can put your red crayon down and find me with your eyes so that I know your whole paper is highlighted correctly. Okay, thank you for finding me with your eyes. Okay, so now look at your colors on your paper. Where do you see green?
At the top.
At the top. So the first sentence the author wrote was that topic sentence. Where do you notice all the yellow? In the middle. Yeah, so the author wrote the important details in the middle. And where do you notice the red?
At the end.
At the end, because that is for the ending. All right, so when you are writing an informational text, you can think about these colors and you can think about tied to help you know what to write. You write the topic introduction sentence first, then you write all your important details, and then you write the end. So if you can remember that, that's going to help you to be able to write a really good paragraph like this exemplar right here. Okay? So I want everyone to put all your crayons down. We are almost finished. Before I leave, I want to see if you can remember the parts of POW. So everybody show me POW. POW. Okay, I'm going to put my paper down. And I'm going to see if you guys can remember what P stands for.
Pull out the prompt.
That's right, pull apart the prompt. Let's all stand up and say it together, okay? You ready? I want to really see you pulling it apart. Here we go. Pull apart the prompt. Now, did we tear it up?
No.
What did we do to pull it apart?
Pull out important words.
Can you say that again?
Pull out important words.
What did she just say?
Pull out important words.
That's what pull apart the prompt means. Good job. Okay, so we got P, pull apart the prompt. Then we had O for Organize my notes. Good job. Let's do it again. Organize my notes. Good job. And then we had the W. Let's see here. Remember. Write and say more. Good job. Let's do it again. Write and say more. Good. Okay, we're going to do all of it together, and then we'll be all finished. You ready? P, then O, then W. Here we go. Pull apart the prompt. Organize my notes. Write and say more. Very good job. All right, thank you guys for letting me come into your class. You can take your crayons and your scissors. After we had worked with the exemplar and gotten it all the way back to the source material, then we would be ready for stage 3 of SRSD, which is model it. So then the teacher would create a new prompt based on the same source material. So the students are still very familiar with it. They've been working with it for a few weeks maybe, and now they're going to think of a different way to write to that prompt. So the teacher would model going through the steps, going through PAL and going through TIDE, and then the students would color code the teacher written essay so they could still see the parts. And after that, then you would start to bring the kids in and do collaborative writes. You might want to bring in a new source material at that point and have a different prompt and have the kids write with you and share the pen. And then after they feel comfortable doing that collaboratively, it's time for them to try it out on their own.
Well, when I was reflecting on this, this whole experience, I thought, well, wouldn't it be great, because I came from teaching 3rd grade as well, and this was in a 1st grade setting, wouldn't it be great if all of the teachers, whether at training or through seeing a video like this, could take this and use the same movements, use the same organizers. Of course, the text would become more complex once you go up in grade level, but the kids would be so used to seeing those same movements that they would, it would just grow on each other. Once you go from kindergarten to 1st, and then you could really start working on getting those more complex sentences with, well, let's work on different topic sentences. Let's try and make it an interrogative sentence at the beginning. But if we could use this and start taking it across all the grade levels, I thought, how powerful would that be for all of us to be using somewhat of the same format so that the kids would be used to it. And especially with Tennessee Ready coming down the pike and these kids being asked to really look at a lot of complex text, that if the more practice that they get and the more similar it could be across the board, I think it would really be powerful to the children as writers.